Hey, good morning everyone, and thanks for tuning in. So last week I started a tutorial series on creating things with the glass powder, so actual glass but in powder form. And last week we made some glass dough, which you can make three-dimensional shapes out of. Today I wanted to just kind of extend that series a little bit and do a tutorial on using glass powder in different ways. And today we're going to make actually a fossil of some organic plant material fused into glass. It's pretty simple, so follow along. So a few days ago I went out into my garden and I just picked out some, I think these are called angel hair ferns, and I just picked up some ferns and then I pressed them in a big book, and I have several different ferns that I can pick from. And my final piece that I'm going to end up with is, I don't know if you can see this or if there's too much glare, but we're going to make this dish that you could give to mom for Mother's Day if you wanted to. It's pretty simple to do. If you're a glass artist, this only takes 2 firings. So this is just a nice little ruffled dish that you could put some maybe votive candles in with some sea glass pebbles, or maybe some pretty wrapped candies or beautifully decorated cookies or what have you. But this would make a lovely gift for mom. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to use I've just pre-cut this is a double thick sheet of glass, and it's pre-cut to the size of the mold I'm going to use to make the ruffled dish. Now, if you don't happen to have any double thick glass, and this is COE 96, but if you don't have any double thick, you can always use 2 pieces of clear glass together. If you're going to do that though, just make sure that you add in an extra long bubble squeeze to your firing schedule so you don't get any bubbles. So today I'm using the double thick, and I've selected the 2 ferns that I'm going to use. I've kind of drawn out the size of the glass here on my ceramic fiber paper, and this is just kind of laying it out how I'm going to have it, you know, the design when I'm all done. And I think the 2 ferns look kind of pretty. So what we're going to do is we're going to use our glass powder just like we did making glass dough, but today we're going to use it dry. So I am going to go ahead and put on my N95 mask, and I hope you can still hear me. But whenever you're working with glass powder, please be sure to always be safe in the studio and wear a really high quality mask. So the first thing that we're going to do is take our ferns and lay them out on some newspaper. And then I'm going to take just some hairspray. Normally, I would use the least expensive hairspray on the market. I like Aquanet because it's really inexpensive and it's really sticky, but I can't get out to the store right now because of the lockdown. So I'm just using what I had on hand. But any hairspray will work. The cheaper, the better. And we're just gonna spray. Oops. We're gonna spray our ferns with hairspray. So once they have a really good coat of hairspray on them, we're going to take our glass powder, and I'm using COE 96, so it's compatible with the glass that I'm using. And I'm going to put this in a little sifter, and I'm going to sift it over the top of our sticky ferns. And I'm just going to shake this over the top of the ferns until they have a nice, good, thick coat of glass powder on them. Once they're covered with the glass powder, I'm going to take another shot of hairspray and spray it over the top. And now the glass powder is is wetted down, so the particles aren't going to float around. And I've replaced the jar lid back on the powder. So now I can take off my mask because I'm sure that I don't have glass powder floating around. So now that I've got my ferns all coated in the green glass powder, I'm just gonna take it off, shake the excess off a little bit, and then I'm just gonna place it onto my pre-drawn form there on my ceramic fiber paper. Do the same thing with the second one. Place it onto the ceramic fiber paper. I blow off any excess. And now I've got my 2 ferns, organic ferns, on my ceramic fiber paper, and this is ready to put the glass on top of and pop it into the kiln. It's just that simple. So when we fire this, I'm just going to fire it to a full fuse at 1475 degrees. And what's going to happen is the hairspray and the organic material from the ferns are going to burn off in the kiln, and it's just going to leave behind sort of a fossil imprint of the fern, and they're going to be in green because we've got the green glass powder in there. So all we do now, this is ready to fire. So all we do now is just lay the glass on top of the ferns, pop it in the kiln, and we're done. Once it comes out of the kiln for the first firing, it's going to be just a flat sheet with the 2 ferns infused into it. And then the next step is just to take our mold here and just slump it into the mold. And when we're all done, we'll have an amazing dish that we can give Mom. Hey, thanks for watching and have a